Hi, I'm Paul Brodie. We're in the shop. Thanks for joining us. Mitch behind the cameras, as usual. Today we're going to work on the CUB. And I've been riding the CUB. Got 114 miles on it now. The last time I went out on it, on the farm roads here along the river, and the bike was running well, and then it just died. So I phoned my neighbor. He got in my van. I left the keys in the console. Oops, shouldn't say that. But he came in and he rescued me and got the bike back here, and it had fuel running, had lots of fuel. It had a spark, so I took the carburetor apart, and there was a bunch of dirt in there. So I think that's why it stopped, because I cleaned the carb, I put on a fuel filter, and seems to run fine now, so that was good. One of the problems with the bike is the front forks, because they're really soft and they top out, and when I use the brake, it dives a lot. So the springs need to be a little firmer, and I don't like the topping out. So we're going to take the forks apart and have a look inside. I thought I would drain the oil out of the left side. So yesterday I took out the drain plug and surprise, no oil came out. So I can't remember if I forgot to put oil in there. That would definitely make a difference, but it's still too soft and it tops out. So we're going to work on that. Now on the Aramaki, I know it's switching brands, but when I was building a road racer back in 1999, I got forks off a Can-Am dirt bike, and they're beta forks made in Spain. I like them. So it was a dirt bike fork, and I wanted to make it into a road race fork. So I found a place in LA. It's called Lindemann Engineering. I don't know if they're still around. So I talked to a guy there, and he said, send them down, and for $300 we can make it work for you. So that's what I did. And I got the forks back, and of course the first thing I did was to take them all apart and to see what they did. I made notes, and so Mitch is going to show you that on the screen, and you'll know what happened. There was some holes in the damper rod that got welded up. There was a spacer to make the travel shorter, and there was a rubber bumper. It was an O-ring. It was a 1/4-inch O-ring that stops that clunk when it tops out. So using that little bit of knowledge that I have, we're going to work on these forks and see what happens. So let's get going. If I hold the brake on, see it's pretty soft, and then if I pull up, hear that? Hate that sound. So that's where the O-ring is going to stop those two surfaces from hitting. And also have to experiment with the oil. It's supposed to take 150 cc's in these forks, and they say 30 weight engine oil, but that's the Haynes manual. There's much more sophisticated oil now, so we'll see what happens. Taking off the fender. In September, there's a road run. It's called the Moto Giro. It's the Rocky Mountain Moto Giro. It's over in the Nelson area. And the first day is a 300K loop. And the bikes have to be 1969 or earlier and 250 cc's or less. So it's a 200, it's 1959. So that's my plan. I want to go do the Rocky Mountain Moto Giro. It's been going for a bunch of years. I don't know how many years. And the second day is, it's a hill climb up a road which gets closed off. But with these tires, I don't think I'm going to do that. It's a Whitworth size. Okay, we got a wheel out. I got to get to the nut, so I need to lift up the handlebars and hang them, and then I can take off the nut. It's all custom up here because I wanted a speedo mount, and there was some other stuff going on too, so. There we go. Okay, that's good. 1.5" socket. Oh, not so tight. It's a taper in here, so I gotta knock down the nut so the taper lets go. There we go. There's the spring. On some of the forks, they've got internal springs, and this one has external springs. These are actually what's known as the heavyweight forks. On the CUB, there's the lightweight forks and the heavyweight, and these are the ones that got used on the bigger bikes, 500s, 650s, things like that. So, how to get this to move? Okay, I made a tool. I was reading the manual yesterday, the Haynes manual, the infamous Haynes manual. And when you put these forks together, you need something which pulls them up, because with all the springs here, you can't hold on to the actual fork tube. So what they tell you to do in the manual is to get a broom handle and to make it the right size and thread it into the fork tube, and then pull up on the broom handle and make sure you don't get any wood going down into the fork. So I made up this. This is the same thread. So I can use this now. I can hit on this so it drives the fork down. So I did make a special tool because I'm not going to use a broom handle. There we go. See it moving? Whoa, there we go. So I can use this to take it out and to also to reinstall. So it does both. So there we go, we got one fork out. We just need one fork. Oops. And we got different things here. There's the booty. And there's the spring. Sounds like there's oil in there. Maybe I'll try once again to take out the... See, if you take out the screw, that's where the oil comes out. So let's have a look and see if there is any oil in there, because I wanted to know. It's probably Whitworth, but a 9mm wrench works quite fine. And let's see if there is any oil in here, because it sounds like there's a bit. Oh yeah. Yeah, but, okay, so I did put oil in it. It's just that with all the air, inside and the top nut on, the oil wasn't coming out. So you can see the oil coming out. And after this, we'll take the forks apart, we'll put them on the bench, get some cardboard under there, and we'll see what we can figure out. Okay, it's not dripping so much anymore. It's not a lot of oil, but at least I didn't forget to put oil in. That would mean a bad mechanic. Okay, so we got out 60 mils, and they call for 150, so I don't know what happened. It didn't leak out. I did not find oil spots on the floor. So it looks like I made a special tool for the CUB forks. See, there's a hole there. And anyway, this fits right. Oh, actually, that's a roll pin. That's what I did. I drilled a hole and I hammered in a roll pin. I machined this so it's the same size. So let's see what happens here. There we go. Looks like I put anti-seize on there. And the seals are new. That's good. And it looks like I've got some pieces here. So there's like a spacer or a shim. There you go. All right, what I want to do, the first thing we can do is to set the preload. And I think there's not enough. So I'm going to put this back into the triple trees, and I'm going to make a mark at the bottom, and then I can assemble this with the spring and see if there's pressure on the spring or if there's any slack. So okay, I'm going to make a mark here, and then I'm going to measure up. So there's my mark, because I can't go up inside and do that. So I'll take a vernier now, and I'll measure up 1/2 inch. So that's how it fits together. And we'll put the forks back into the fork tubes back into the slider, and we'll add the springs and all that and just see where we sit. So this piece here, this goes on the top of the spring, and this goes inside like that, but it doesn't go all the way up because I measured and it was 1/2 inch, and this is not 1/2 inch. This is 0.400, so I have to allow for that. So if I make a mark right here, That's going to be about 400. So when I put this on like that, so what's happening is when that mark there is right on that mark, that's how the fork sits. So if I do this now, it's getting a little, if I take 400 and I go like that. So when this piece is right about at that mark, this line here is right there, that's where it goes in. So this is looking at the preload. So, okay, so this is why the forks are pretty soft, because that's, well, on the bike, that's where it sits. And if I just press, that's really soft, isn't it? So I've got my weight, I got the weight of the bike. Watch your elbow, Mitch. And so what I need to do is to make a spacer to get a little extra preload. So if I make a spacer about that long, what's that, about 3/4 of an inch? That's a good start. So that's what we'll do. And then we also have to figure out where the bump is coming from, where that clang. So you hear that? So what that is, it's the bottom of the fork hitting. So let's just have a look at that as well, because that's where an O-ring has to go. And that's going to take up a little bit of space, but so as the forks go down, so that's what's happening. When I pull up on the bars, that's that noise you're hearing. It's when it hits. So if I put an O-ring in here, it doesn't look like it's going to be a 1/4 inch. So let's just see what I got, because I do have a bunch of O-rings here. What about this guy? Okay, so there's an O-ring. So maybe I don't have to buy an O-ring. On the beta forks, there was a larger O-ring, but this one, so if I pull up and it tops out, that's what happens, it hits the O-ring there. So I like that. So I think I can put the forks back together again. I'm going to make a spacer. I think we'll make it out of Delrin if I have Delrin. That'll be for the other side. That was pretty handy having O-rings here. Let's go to the lathe and I have to figure out what size of spacer. I know I'm going to do 3/4 inches long. Be about this size. And 3/4 of an inch. Let me go see what I got in the way of Delrin, or I got aluminum, I know that, but I kind of like using Delrin. It's quick and easy. Well, I don't have Delrin, so I guess I got to use aluminum. What have I got for aluminum? A piece of tubing would be better. Then I don't have to bore it out. Oh, look at that. Ooh. How's that? I looked in my stock. How's that? That looks pretty darn good. If I I would even part that off for the people that think I never part things off. It goes like that. So it does go in. Oh, there we go. Okay. There's the spacer. Oh, it seems to be fine. Special tool. Okay. And then that goes down. So let's put it on the bike. If you don't have a tool like this, this is very difficult. That's why I made the tool, because it wasn't working. Here's my fork oil for today, 30 weight engine oil, just like they recommended in the Haynes manual. So 150 cc's. Well, basically, I think that's good. I have to do the other side, then put the wheel and fender back on, go for a test ride. So I'll let you know how it goes. Hopefully it fixed some problems. Thanks for watching. Mitch and I like coffees. Please subscribe. See you next time.